There are various barriers to problem solving. One of the barriers is simply framing, the way we formulate a problem. In fact, formulating a problem tends to be one of the best things we can do to really solve a problem, sort of thinking about it in multiple ways. We can collect and organize and analyze all the relevant data. Basically looking at what do we know, what information's missing, how does all the information fit together. It's sort of the homework we do when we're solving the problem before we kind of jump into it. That framing creates kind of a mental representation of the problem. And if we have that right mental representation, we tend to be able to solve that problem better. So consider this fellow. He's got the task of joining two strings, one that he's got already in his right hand and the other that he's trying to reach in his left hand. The only other thing he has in the room is a screwdriver, which is way off at the corner of a table somewhere. And his job is to be able to hold both of these strings at the same time, but the one string is too far, and he can't figure out how to make this work. So basically, one of the things that's happening, he keeps reaching, and can't figure it out. Over time, one of the things that happens is the experimenter comes in and walks by and talks with the person for a little bit, and on the way out, the experimenter sort of accidentally, and I'll say accidentally in quotes, brushes up against the string that's farthest from him. And when that happens, that string sort of moves a little bit, starts swinging just a little bit. And often what ends up happening is the participant realizes, wait a minute, if I could get that string to start swinging, then perhaps I could get it swinging my way and I could grab that string. So then he figures out, actually, I shouldn't be thinking about the screwdriver as a screwdriver at all. I should think about it as a weight that would help me get that string swinging. So then he ties that screwdriver to the other string, gets it swinging back and forth, and now he's able to grab it. And he can hold both strings at the same time. So this is an example of functional fixedness. The original way that he thought about that screwdriver interfered with the representation that was useful for this particular problem. He thought about that concept, the screwdriver, in its typical form, basically screwing in screws and no other way. It wasn't until he sort of stepped out of that, he got away from that functional fixedness, thinking about the function in only one way, that he was able to figure out how to solve this problem. And this is true of people most of the time. In fact, people who spend most of their time on a problem typically generate the most diverse solutions. And if you generate lots and lots of solutions, you're more likely to find one that's going to work. And what I mean by that is when you generate lots and lots of potential solutions, you're likely to find one that's going to work. Another barrier to problem solving is what we call mental sets. That is, we habitually use methods of problem solving that worked for us in the past, even though they probably wouldn't work in this particular situation. So if you're having little success in solving a problem, it's often really helpful to stop working on it for a little while and let it sort of rattle around in your heads, basically what we call incubate. That incubation is a period of not thinking about the problem, and it sometimes helps us solve that problem over time. One of the ways that happens is unproductive strategies tend to sort of recede from memory, and we're able to attack the problem from a fresh, more productive standpoint or perspective when we return to it.